first question is about Kosovo, and what do you think about the situation, and what would you propose to solve this problem?
Well, my proposal cannot help anybody because nobody is going to listen to my proposal. But I see the situation to be very grim, and I feel that if the West, and particularly America, had wanted to save the Kosovan Muslims, they could have taken other measures which they did not take. And this is a repeat of another Bosnia in olden days. They could have done it, and they should have done it, because they computerize everything and they know the consequences of every such thing. So, unfortunately, I'm not at all happy and satisfied with the situation, but your question is a very large one, so I will try to squeeze it into a small answer, but it's difficult. Anyway, I'll try. Let him first translate. Unfortunately, the entire Muslim world is completely duped and deceived. Some people are enjoying the bombardment of the Serbians, etc., and Yugoslavia as such. But they don't realize that it's a big dupe, it's a big hoax played upon them. And every sensible person in the Western world knows it. I only draw your attention to some facts. Clinton, in one of his speeches, said that we are going to punish the Yugoslavs for their atrocities, and we plan to bombard them and let them have a taste of bombardment. But we'll do it only on fixed targets, where only the small units of army headquarters that are bombarded, and no civilian is hurt at all. Correct? This is the respect for the civilians. At the same time, he mentioned this, that we know that to save the Kosovan people, the Muslim people of Kosovo, we will have ultimately to move the army into there. Now they knew that as a result of this bombardment, they will show the world that we are killing the Kosovans as a consequence of their bombardment. So they have taken the initiative of launching a war against a free country, and we are only retaliating. And this is exactly the impression they are creating on television on everybody in the world. Now, if instead of this, they had moved the armed forces ahead to occupy the Muslim villages in Kosovo and all around, now what would have happened? Their army could not have started killing the United Nations or this UNO peace force and American peace force, because if they had done it, then they would have taken the initiative in their hand, and the whole world could be told that, look here, we sent a peacekeeping mission and we never started the first bullet, and they are now attacking us, so in defense we have every right. You see, the tables would have been completely turned, and the Muslim of Kosovo would not have to leave their country in hundreds, in 100,000 perhaps already have been displaced or more, and would not have been driven out of their homes by their bombardment. So they say we're bombarding to silence their guns. If they had moved in first, their guns would have already been silenced. it would be impossible for them to hit them. And if they had done, then they had every right to kill even their army at large. And that would have given a real-life message to them. So you are dealing with Dajjal. That is the problem. The Antichrist, as it is mentioned in the Hadith, has been it would be a force against which all the previous prophets had warned. So you are living in a world of Antichrist. Don't be deceived by these so-called apparent devices, apparent acts of theirs to save an innocent people. Secondly, a large number of Kosovans have run into the hills around Kosovo, thick jungles, and they want food. So somebody telephoned them, their representative, and some of his relatives had also fled to the jungle, and he said, "What about the food? They are dying of hunger there." He said, "Yes, we know, but we have our scheduled program. We'll begin dropping the food after this has been organized. We are busy taking care of the refugees at present." So that means 10,000 or 20,000 people who have sought refuge in the jungle would be destroyed of hunger, and by the time they start dropping their food aid, there will be nobody to receive it. Very deceptive people, very deceptive indeed. Only prayer can help. A prayer, I think, only of Ahmadiyyas, to beg Allah to remove the Antichrist from the scene. As long as it is hovering over the whole of the world, nothing can be done. So you can pray to Allah that we are tired of pseudo-gods. Please come back and begin to rule, because the pseudo-gods have destroyed the whole world. Right? Again, the way they broadcast the news of what's happening, it is tantamount to their admitting that they are the aggressors. And the result is that the public opinion in the West is rising against their own aggression. So instead of seeing Yugoslavia as aggressor, they are gradually, after watching the news, they say, "Poor Yugoslavia, after all, it's their country. What right have we got to interfere?" So the public opinion is rising against their own aggression. And the same is seen in Russia by the public there. They said they are aggressive. What right they have got to interfere in the internal affairs of Yugoslavia? So, with the result, before the time of the third phase, it is quite likely, and they may have also calculated it, that Russia will rise and tell them that we don't want to offend you, but look at our public. Our government will be toppled if you don't stop it. And then they'll say, "Oh, the phase 3 cannot be completed." So everything will be left high and dry. In the end, at last, there is a likelihood that a small portion like that of Bosnia would be created as a Muslim state, but that is a far-fetched idea. A hope against hope, that's all.